Welcome into the Michigan Football Report presented by Manscaped. If you're watching this show, believe me, I need to make sure you're trimmed downstairs for your bedroom activities. Get going with Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code GOBLUE when you check out for 20% off and free shipping. All right, we are going to do a bit different of a show than we normally would. We like to keep things fresh and talk about the latest news, rumors, recruiting, the game that just happened. But it's a bye week. Michigan doesn't play for, another 11 days, and so we're figured with 6 games down, 6 games to go in the schedule. Michigan's bowl eligible now, so they'll play a 13th game at least. We will talk about our MVPs on offense, defense, talk about the best freshmen, the best newcomers, all this different stuff. And I'm going to start my mid-season Michigan Football Awards with offensive MVP, and that is none other than maybe the most explosive player Michigan's had at the running back position in a generation or more, and that is Blake Corum. Right now on pace to have well over 1,300 yards rushing, and these are, of course, projected over 13 games that we're going to show you here on the screen. His partner in the backfield, Hassan Haskins, probably has just as good of a case as Corum, or almost as good of a case as him. Clearly, Corum has a little more yards. He's got 607 yards to 492, and I think Corum, at least from a weapon perspective, has been a bigger impact in the passing game, and Corum has also been Michigan's primary kick returner as well. So even if their stats were the same rushing, I think Corum's ability to catch the ball and make some plays there, and it's not been a ton, just like catch or so a game, but the special teams and the all-purpose yards that he brings into it has given him my MVP. Other candidates, I thought about maybe the entire offensive line. I think it's tough to distinguish between which player is playing the best, because they're all playing, in my opinion at least, so good through 6 games of this season so far. So I'm going to ask you this question. Who has been your offensive MVP for this team through 6 games? I just went through most of the candidates. It is Blake Corum. If you think it's Blake Corum, type in BC. Cade McNamara CM. Hassan Haskins, type in HH. And if you think it's the offensive line, type in OL. Now, you might get hit with an ad break here on YouTube. So while that ad plays, scroll down, reply to the pinned comment beneath this video with one of those initials, BC, CM, HH, or OL, and we'll roll back up and we will continue on with the show. All right. Here's the deal. Going to be out of town next week, right? It's my son's birthday. We're doing a little international trip, an island off the coast of Mexico. So, make you guys this deal. I'm gonna pre-record some stuff on Sunday, on Saturday for next week, but we won't have enough for a video every single day. So if you want Yoder oceanside video, island side video, whatever it is, if we get 25 subscribers from this video alone, that doesn't mean you leave and you come back later, you go to the channel, etc. You've got to hit subscribe right on the page you're watching right now so we can see it in the analytics. We get 25 subscribers from this video, let's just say by the end of the week, by Friday, because it doesn't matter when it happens. If it comes from this video, I will do a wild and crazy island Michigan football video next week. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. We got Michigan football news, rumors, recruiting, all the things you need to know about this program. So subscribe, youtube.com/Michigan TV. Hit that sub button. How about on the defensive side of the ball? This one should be pretty easy. I'm sure there could be a case made for a couple other guys, but overall, it's been Aidan Hutchinson, and frankly, he's been probably the best defensive player through 6 games that Harbaugh's had, and that says a lot given he's got guys like Devin Bush, who's had All-American seasons, and Rashawn Gary was a highly touted player, and Chase Winovich and Jordan Lewis and all these guys. But through 6 games, I think Aidan Hutchinson has had the best season of any defender under Jim Harbaugh. Now, he's got to prove it against Michigan State, Penn State, and Ohio State, the first 2 of those games being on the road. So we'll see what happens, but he is my defensive MVP. You saw his stats there: 24 tackles, 5.5 sacks, and 6 tackles for loss. 1 forced fumble for Aidan Hutchinson on the year. We're going to talk more about these MVPs, offense, defense, special teams in a moment, but want to make sure you guys know about Manscaped. It is almost Halloween, and you don't want it to have to be Fright Night when things get going in the bedroom. Don't have cobwebs down below. Trim that bad boy up with my favorite product, the Lawnmower 4.0. I swear by it. You can take it in the shower. It's got a little light on it. It's got a charging dock. Normally $90 with the promo code GOBLUE, 20% off. You get it for $71.99 and free shipping. This is just one of many awesome male grooming products that Manscaped offers. So tell a lady in your life, hey, get a little birthday present, a little Christmas coming up, whatever it is, or buy it for yourself. Do a little self-care and get going with Manscaped, manscaped.com. Promo code GOBLUE. How about special teams, right? We're going to talk later in the show about my top 5 players of the year so far. And I struggle keeping this guy right there to the right, Jake Moody, off the list, even though he's the kicker. But talk about a guy potentially winning multiple games for Michigan, right? You could say, well, his performance against Rutgers, maybe at the end of the day, it didn't really count in crunch time, but it was the difference in the ball game, right? He hit field goals when Michigan needed field goals in the first half, didn't really get anything in the second half, but hitting 4 field goals on the road against Nebraska, 2 in the final 3 minutes of the game, 1 to tie it, and then 1 to take the lead after the A.D. Martinez fumbles. It's very clear that he is the offensive MVP. I'm sorry, the special teams MVP, and maybe some people can make an argument he's up there with Blake Corum and Aidan Hutchinson for the MVP of the team so far. And I think that kind of speaks some a little bit of Cade McNamara and the wide receivers' lack of ability to get into the end zone through the passing game. But today is National Jake Moody Appreciation Day. It is a legal holiday in the United States of America per me. So I'm making it presidential order, the King's order, King of Michigan Football Media order. Today is National Jake Moody Appreciation Day. So if you want to show this, I'm going to email this to Moody. Make sure he sees it. Type Moody down in the comments. Let's show him some love. Make sure next time he's got a game-winning field goal on the line, he's thinking, gosh, I got to do it for the Michigan Football Report fans. So go down, type Moody in the comments. Last but not least, on our first whip around of these awards, we've got 8 of them, is the top freshman of the year. And for me, I think there's only one candidate, and it's not even close, and it is Junior Colson. Now, there are no, and these are true freshmen, by the way. I'm not thinking about redshirt. I'm not thinking about COVID-19 freshman eligibility. True freshman, 2021 recruiting class, Junior Colson is the guy. So not a starter, but he has played starter minutes at times through various games. He's got 20 tackles on the year. He's got a pass breakup. He's got a fumble recovery. No sacks yet, but he is slated to be a sure 2 or 3 year starter come next year. Maybe taking over for Josh Ross. You never know. We'll see. It could be a nice combo for a couple of seasons. Junior Colson and Nakai Hill-Green in 2022, 2023. Hell, even beyond, they both would have eligibility all the way up until 2025, as crazy as that may sound, depending or not if Colson red shirts. I think he's actually played in 4 games exactly now, so unlikely he'll be able to redshirt, but they will at least have 3 seasons together to be Michigan's star linebackers in this Mike McDonald defense. So you saw that I had Aidan Hutchinson as my defensive MVP. You saw that that Junior Colson is my freshman of the year. Who is your defensive MVP for this team through 6 games? Daxton Hill, Josh Ross, David Ajabo, Aidan Hutchinson. Give me your name. Comment below here on this video, and we'll see what you guys think on this one. Who's your defensive MVP? All right, promise some follower shout-outs. I probably should have done this last Friday over the weekend, but didn't get to them until today. So want to give shout-outs, 10 or 15. So JNorth75, Jacob Russell 233, Debbie_Piper, PJM15, and Stewie Gooey, cool name there. Continue rolling along here. We've got James, Joe, and then a string of numbers, 556-15139. Greg Nagel, J Money Sniper 17, typical OSU. That's actually a pretty funny account that just was created. And then Trevor IDK. Trevor, I don't know either, bro. Those top 2, Greg and James, you got to get pictures. Get a picture, as they would say. So I'll get some more shout-outs later in the show, or tomorrow I'll have some more from the about 15, 18, 20 people who have followed me since the weekend. All right, let's continue to roll along with these awards. Most improved player on the team, on the offense at least, it's the entire offensive line, okay? I can't break it down to any one single player because they're playing very well as a group. This is a unit that really fell off in 2019. You had a lot of injuries, right? You had Andrew Stuber, you had Jalen Mayfield, all kinds of injuries, and you had some guys like Zach Zintner that got multiple starts as a true freshman, and Ryan Hayes, who was back into the fold as one of the main guys, but they never really gelled. They never really looked like they were a cohesive unit. And frankly, with Ed Warner leaving the program and Sharon Moore being promoted from tight ends coach to co-offensive coordinator and offensive line coach, I thought this offensive line would be a disaster and shambles. But I am so impressed with the offensive line this year. Has only given up 1 sack. This team has turned the ball over 2 times. One of those was the last play of the game a couple weeks back that didn't count at all. So 1 real turnover and only 1 sack this entire year. How about on defense? This might be a surprise to some of you people. It's Daxton Hill. And you could say, well, James, how is a guy who's been starting for, this is his third season of the program, 2.5 seasons. He basically started kind of the last few games of his freshman year, all last year, and now he's a junior, draft eligible. Some people say, hey, he's a round 2, round 3 pick right now. Maybe he has a chance to go up in the draft. How can he be most improved? Well, because he just wasn't that good last year, right? And I don't think he had that great of an attitude from what I saw of him on the field. I don't think he was the kind of guy that was celebrating with his teammates. He was the kind of guy that was, running to the whistle every time. Something's changed. He's kind of back at it. He's showing that athleticism. He got burned a couple times against Wisconsin end of the first half, but when it came down to it, he made some big plays in the second half. He had a forced fumble, an interception, all kinds of play. Had another good week against Nebraska this past week, and he is my most improved player on this defense. All right, how about best new starter on offense? And that is, for me, Cade McNamara. There's not a ton of new starters on offense across the board. I mean, you could say Hassan Haskins was a starter last year. You could say the wide receiving core that came into the season was, returning starters for the most part from last year. And most of the guys in the offensive line had some starting experience. Now, Cade McNamara did start one game last year, but it was, only he played a quarter in that one start. So I'm going to consider him a brand new starter for this program. He's only had one interception the entire year, one turnover. He's only been sacked one time. This is a 6-0 program. He's got almost 1,000 yards. Now, the 5 touchdowns are probably the part of his stats, 5 touchdowns and 1 interception, that is really surprising because Michigan has something like, 19, 20, something like that, touchdowns rushing, only 5 passing. I think it's going to hurt him if they can't figure out a passing game inside the red zone. Cade McNamara has really not had more than 1 or 2 touchdowns all year in the red zone. Of his 5 touchdowns, quite a few of them are really long distance. So inside the 20, Michigan hasn't really seemed to have any sort of offensive game plan or contingency other than just giving the ball to Hassan Haskins or Blake Corum and let them smash into the defensive line, see if they can get the ball moving, get the ball rolling there. So we'll see what happens. Michigan's got Northwestern after the bye week, then Michigan State. That will be when we'll find out what Cade McNamara is made of. How about in defense, right? There's a couple, I think, candidates here, but my defensive best new starter is David Ojabo. All right, he has had just a wonderful season. This is a position, the defensive line, that most people, myself included, thought would be the worst on this team, and I would say you could consider them potentially the strongest part of the team so far through 6 games, right? You've got 2 star defensive ends in Aidan Hutchinson and David Ojabo, and the interior guys. They have a role. It's not the same as it was under Don Brown. It's basically to just take up space and make the offensive linemen pay more attention to them, potentially double team one of them to give one-on-one matchups to Ojabo and Aidan Hutchinson going after the quarterback. Ojabo has done his part. He had that 2.5 sack game against Wisconsin, has played pretty dang well every single game that I've watched him closely this year. And I think really after about the second game, I've been paying pretty close attention to what he's doing on most every play and go from there. Now, Nikhai Green also was in contention for newcomer. Michigan and his team in total. You had a lot of guys opt out for the 2020 season, so you had quite a few players, about a dozen or so, that got into the starting lineup at some point from opt-outs or dozen and a half dozen or so, and then maybe it was up to 8 or 9 who got multiple game starting experience because of all the injuries Michigan had last year. So he's the opportunity to there, but those guys, Nikhai Green, David Ojabo, my 2 top candidates by a big margin on the defensive side of the ball. New starters. Mozzie Smith, some people might argue for, but I don't think he's played anywhere near up to where those guys have been. All right, one more time, quick reminder, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the video. Get 25 subscribers from this video. You can't do it anywhere else. You got to press subscribe while you're on this page. If we get 25 subscribers, we will do an island video next week when I am down in Mexico for my son's 5th birthday. All right, wrap up the show today. I'm going to go with my top 5 players for this team through 6 games. And Aidan Hutchinson, Big Ten put out there, the Big Ten network media folks put out their unofficial mid-season awards earlier today. I'm not copying off them. I didn't know they were doing that. They just came out right before we started filming this video. But Aidan Hutchinson is their Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year at the halfway point. Blake Corum, Daxton Hill, David Ojabo, Josh Ross. A very defensive heavy, right? Hassan Haskins is probably number 6, and frankly, Jake Moody would probably be number 7 if I was ranking this up to 7, 8, 9, 10. But I want to know from you guys, comment below. Take a minute to think about it if you have to, but give me your 5 best players on this team, the ones who have performed best on the field so far here in the 2021 season. I want to see how yours compare to mine and how you guys compare to each other. So get down. Don't leave this video. You're here to the end. Go down and make sure you comment those 5 players in order. I'll go down and let you know what I think about your picks. We'll be back with the Michigan Football Mailbag tomorrow. Until then, go Blue.